And now we bring you a simple story of everyday people. There's no place like home. And you join us as we visit a typical Australian homestead in the settlement of Coochie Creek. It is a simple homestead, a modest shack of eucalyptus slabs and corrugated iron, but cosy and comfortable, the beneficiary of a woman's loving care. Now let us venture inside this humble dwelling, where we meet Pa and Ma McFlurry and their son Clive. Clive is sitting at the kitchen table, sheets of paper spread out in front of him, his fingers covered in ink. He seems despondent, and he has thrown down his pen in despair.
What are you doing, Clive? You're not still writing all of them poems, are you?
I sure am, Pa. Right now I'm trying to write a poem about...
No, Clive, don't tell me. Let me guess. I reckon you're writing a poem about a dingo who makes his fortune on a 200-to-1 nag and marries the boss's daughter. Is that it, Clive?
No, Pa, strike me pink, that's a silly idea. A dingo who makes his fortune and marries the boss's daughter? What do you take me for?
Well, I don't think it's such a bad idea for a poem. Better than a lot of the poems you read from those folk in the city. Some of those poems are just plain indecent.
Too right, Pa. Some of those poems folks are writing today, they don't make any sense. They're not for the likes of us respectable folk here in Coochie Creek. But I reckon your poems have got to be all right, Clive. You're a smart lad, so go on, give us a butcher's. What are you writing a poem about now?
Well, Ma, right now I'm writing a poem about...
No, Clive, don't tell us. Let me guess. I reckon you're writing a poem about some cowcocky who gets his hands on one of them newfangled gas refrigerators. That's what you're writing, isn't it? Oh, I reckon that'd be a bonza sort of poem.
No, stone the flaming crows, Pa. A cowcocky who gets his hands on a gas refrigerator? That's an even sillier idea. You'll never make it as a poet.
Well, how do you like that, Ma? The lad doesn't think his old pa knows how to write poems. How do you like that?
Oh, Pa, don't get crook. It's not like I don't think highly of you, but you've got to have the right temperament to write poetry. You've got to have a certain sensitivity, a certain understanding of the finer things in life.
What are you saying, lad? Are you saying your old dad doesn't appreciate the finer things in life? Didn't we raise you right? You'll send your mother to an early grave with talk like that. Don't listen to him, Ma. I reckon our lad's becoming a dirty, rotten snob since he's been writing those poems.
Oh, don't worry, Pa. I'm sure the boy doesn't mean any harm. We're very proud of you, Clive, you and your poems. You'll impress all the ladies with your fancy words.
That you will, Clive, my boy. You keep writing those poems and all the Sheilas'll think you're as flash as Stuart Granger. You could have your pick of the young beauties around these parts.
Oh, that's a nice thing to say, Pa, but fair dinkum, I don't want to impress all the Sheilas. I just want to impress young Elsie from Jingy Hill Farm. She's a top little Sheila, and I reckon she's the one for me.
Well, don't get your hopes up, Clive, my boy. I reckon you're backing the wrong horse there. Young Elsie's a nice girl, but her old man's got a few quid, and I reckon they look down on the likes of us. We're just poor farming folk to them.
Ah, well, that's just too bad, Pa, because I'm not interested in any of the other Sheilas round these parts, and I don't reckon they're interested in poetry neither. But Elsie, she's a refined young girl, and I reckon she could be swayed to start courting if I read her a few fancy words.
Oh, don't you listen to your father, Clive. Elsie's father might have a few bob tucked away, that's true. But Clive, you're as good as any man, and I reckon if you put your mind to it, You could turn Elsie's head.
Oh, I don't know.
Now, Pa, don't discourage the boy. Young Clive's a fine young man, and we brought him up all right. Our boy has got a bit of a way with words, and I reckon his poems are enough to impress any young lady, even Elsie from Jingley Hill Farm.
You really reckon that, Ma?
I do, Clive. Now, why don't you cheer up and tell us all about the poem you're writing now?
All right, Ma. Right now, I'm writing a poem about...
No, Clive, don't tell us. Let me guess. I reckon right now you're writing a poem about someone...
Ah, will you let the boy tell us about his poem? Go on, Clive. Ignore your father. Tell us about the poem you're writing.
Well, to tell you the truth, Ma, I'm not writing a lot. Right now, I can't seem to squeeze a sentence out of this blessed pen. I can't make anything rhyme.
Oh, don't be hard on yourself, son. Look, you've got sheets and sheets of foolscap all over the table there, and your fingers are covered in ink. I reckon you've got some bonza rhymes among all that.
No, none of it's any good. I mean, I can't think of anything that rhymes with Elsie, for a start.
Chelsea?
Thanks, Ma, but that's no good. She's not from Chelsea.
Well, what about wealthy? She's certainly wealthy.
Well, that doesn't rhyme properly, Pa. And anyway, you can't say that in a love song. It sounds like I'm after her money. And I'd love Elsie even if she didn't have two brass razzoos to rub together.
Well, I wouldn't mind her money. Maybe I'll write her a couple of poems myself.
You're not writing no poems to nobody. Let's try to help the boy. I'm sure we can find some inspiration for young Clive. Show me what you've written, Clive.
Ah, nothing, Ma. It's coming out all wrong. I need something to inspire me.
Well, how about this? A packet of Wheatie Puffs. The fellas who write the words on these newfangled breakfast cereal packets, they know their stuff. They get millions of people to buy their products. Look, this one's got a top-notch poem right here. It says... Hang on, let me put on my specs. It says, Wheatie Puffs for you and me to keep things moving regularly.
Pa, that's not what I want to say to Elsie at all. That would give her the wrong impression.
Oh, ignore your father, Clive. He's being a stupid old galoot. No, let's try something else. How about this bottle of Pierre's patent hair tonic?
Oh, I don't know. We don't want to turn the lad all effeminate like. Hair tonic. I don't know about that.
No, Pa, it's just the ticket. All the ladies like a well-turned-out gent. Let's see, it says here, a gent who is smart and always sleek has a different lady every week. Oh, no, maybe that's not the thing either.
Oh, Ma, I appreciate your help, but that's not the thing at all. I don't want Elsie to think I'm some flash Harry who has a different lady every week. It's no good. I appreciate your help, but I guess I'm never going to find inspiration from my poems. And Elsie will marry some fella from university, some city type who's as smart as a rat with a gold tooth. It's no use.
Now, Clive, don't you lose heart, because I reckon I might have an idea.
Well, gee, Pa, I appreciate it, but I don't know if your ideas are quite the full two bob. I mean, a dingo who marries the boss's daughter, or a cowcocky with a new gas refrigerator. That's humorous stuff for sure, but I don't think it'll win Elsie over.
Maybe we should leave the boy alone, Pa.
No, hear me out. Do you remember that pommy fellow who I met when I was doing stock work up north?
Yeah, I remember him. Brian Byron was his name, wasn't it? He came to Australia looking for gold and found a whole lot of rocks. A well-spoken sort of chap. He kept rabbiting on that he had some famous grandpa.
Well, that's the bloke. He could talk the hind legs off a blessed donkey, old Brian Byron. But he wasn't half bad as a shearer's cook. Anyway, he had a pretty fancy way with words. Said his old granddad taught him a thing or two about writing. Anyway, The ladies used to love his poems. They thought he was so fancy, they used to call him Lord Byron.
Well, that's all very well for him, Pa, but that's no use to me.
No, you don't understand. You see, things didn't work out too well for this Byron fella, this Pommy Shearer's cook, because he was a bit of a greedy beggar. And one day when he was down writing some of his poems by a particularly deep and treacherous billabong, this fat old jumbuck came down for a drink, and old Byron decided to score himself a free feed. And he would have succeeded too, and we would all have been eating mutton stew for the next month if a couple of local troopers hadn't popped up at that very moment and, well, to cut a long story short, next thing you know, Lord Byron is splashing around in the billabong. Except the silly old coot didn't know how to swim, so that was the end of him.
And what happened, Pa?
Well, there was no one else to claim his poems, and I didn't like to see them go to waste, so I stuffed them in my swag and brought them back home. I've still got them out in the shed. Why don't I grab them and we can see if there's some nice fancy stuff there you can try out on young Elsie.
Oh, too right, Pa, that's ripper.
And I reckon the rest of the poems you can send into the Bulletin and the Smith's Weekly and the Australasian. I reckon with those you could become a famous poet, Clive.
Well, it would be a shame for them to go to waste, wouldn't it? Just fancy that. Clive McFlurry, the famous poet from Coochie Creek. I wonder if people will still remember me in 90 years' time.
Well, no time to think about that now, Clive. We've got to find you a nice romantic poem so you can go courting young Elsie. So why don't you head out to the shed and I'll be with you in a couple of shakes.
No worries, Pa.
Well, how about that, Ma? I knew those old poems would come in handy.
That's true, Pa, but you've got to stop spinning that yarn. You know as well as I do that you won those poems from Lord Byron in a crooked game of two-up, and then he corked it when a koala fell on his head.
Yeah, but sometimes you got to embellish the truth a little bit. You know, use a bit of poetic license.
Well, it seems that Pa might have found just the thing to help court Elsie. But will she choose Clive over all those smart city fellas from the university? And will Clive McFlurry still be remembered in 90 years' time? Find out in next week's episode of There's No Place Like Home.